I remember the Lord asked me a question. He said, "Would you rather be warm and broke or cold and have money?"
Wow.
So I was like,
I'll take the cold,
let me
Lord.
get my jacket.
I'll take the cold, Lord.
Let me go get my jacket right now.
Get your water and keep some wine. I should have had some wine.
With exposure, execution, and consistency, there is nothing you can't do. Just keep planting.
Hey y'all, thank you so much for tuning back in to my YouTube channel. My name is Kiani, the Responsible Homegirl. And today we have no other than Mr. Danny Diesel. So before we get into the entire interview, y'all already know, Think Like a Mogul is a series where I really want to expose the greatness in our own backyard. So it's easy for us to glamorize like other entrepreneurs and other business owners that don't live in South Carolina, because of social media. But I want to show the entire world that we have some dope people in South Carolina doing amazing things. So throughout this entire interview, we're gonna tap into your mindset, hear a lot about your story, and then of course, hear how you think like a mogul. So just to get started, Danny, can you tell everybody watching like a little bit about how you grew up, your childhood, and what kind of molded you into the man and the businessman that you are today?
Okay, so I grew up definitely in King Street, South Carolina.
Period.
I grew up as a preacher's kid, so always in church, always in revival. Like it was always something. Till I got older, and then I had an option per se, but for the most part, it was always church. So that's when I realized that I had a good memory. I could memorize a lot of things, and then I started getting acronyms. And we moved to the country, moved to Hill Half Acres, and then that brought us back to the city. With the city came a different level of exposure. So in the country, everything was more, family oriented. Not saying it's not up here, but
right.
My first day going outside, it was like 15 people fighting in the yard, like down the street. So I was like, okay.
Right.
Like then,
like you off the porch for real.
Right. So that kind of changed my whole mindset. Like, okay, I'm gonna have to get down and dirty if I'm gonna be living here. And that's
because you wanted to hang with them?
Not because I didn't want to get rejected.
Okay.
Per se. So, and that further led to a lot of why I did a lot of things, especially as far as the streets went. Of course, because I'm a preacher's kid, a lot of stuff. Oh, you can't do this, you're the preacher's kid. But I was trying to like separate the two,
right,
and let them know like he's the preacher, I'm the kid. Like,
find your own identity.
Yeah, like let me be the kid. But I ultimately, it was like more of a saving thing. Like, yo, you don't do this. Like,
right,
you know better, like type thing.
From your parents.
Yeah. So, and I think it had a purpose. But it's just like now the same place I was running from, I found myself there. So now I'm back in the church. I'm a steward. Like I've been teaching since like 2009.
Okay.
So it's just funny. And now my dad has Parkinson's, so it makes me kind of not regret, but look back like, dang, what if I took that serious?
Right.
Like I could have had a lot more time while I was studying with him, things like that. Because now he don't even remember some things because of Parkinson's.
Right.
But yeah, so while I ran the streets, fighting, smoking weed, cutting class.
Lord. Bad boy.
Yes. So, I was a leader, but I was a leader in the wrong things first starting out.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of negativity stuff that I was a leader in. And it wasn't until one of my cousins called me and he was like, yo, if I don't leave King Street, I'm gonna either die or go to jail. And I was like, bro, like, you gotta stop. He was like, but you taught me. I was like, I taught you? You know what I mean? So that's when I realized, like, okay, some things gotta change. So that's what happened. Like when I eventually, that made me choose to go into the military. So it's like, okay, I need some kind of discipline because it's not gonna come. I gotta get that.
Was this after you graduated from high school or like
Yeah, so
Okay.
I graduated 2007. I instantly went in the military.
Gotcha.
I ain't waste no time because I got kicked out previously.
Kicked out of where?
Home.
Oh, okay.
So just staying out late.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. They used to have parties at the army.
Yeah.
So party at the army. One of my homeboys got beat up. Well, he got jumped. I ain't say he got beat up. Sorry about that. My bad, my boy. So he got jumped. And when you get, any kind of altercation, the police hold you.
Right.
So I came home like 1 o'clock. And my dad was like, bro, you ain't following rules. You're going to have to leave. So I was like, man, so I can, not save face, but save face. And I knew, 4 years ago, my uncle had got shot, previously from that. So he didn't even make it to see 20. So here go now, I'm 17. So I'm like, I got to do something different.
Yeah.
So I went straight into the military. Gave me $20,000. I was like, I'll sign twice, just to get.
So they gave you $20,000 just for joining the military.
Just for joining.
Wow.
Yup. So I was like, man, let's do it. And even that came with another level of exposure. So I got exposed to racism then. Yeah. So growing up, being that I played baseball, I knew that there was a white and black thing, right? But I just thought it was a difference. Like they drank Gatorade, we drank Kool-Aid. We eat chips, they eat trail mix. Yeah. So I just thought it was a difference thing. But when I went in the military, it was like, nah. So it was more of a hate thing. And it was ironic, a guy, he used to stare at us a lot. And I was like, man, what is wrong? He was like, man, I was told that y'all had tails. So I was trying to figure out where y'all put y'all tails.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious.
And this is 2007.
This is 2007, yo. So I really started learning people then. So that made me really hone down and started paying attention to people, doing more research with things. And then when I went to school for early childhood because I knew I was supposed to be a teacher. Right. So did that, fell in love with psychology, but then I realized I'm supposed to be a teacher in a classroom, but for life per se. Yeah. So I started mentoring kids, working in after school programs, summer camps, and then I started mentoring kids at DJJ. But it's more so my identity then. I met this guy and he was like, hey, you might need to dress how you want people to treat you. Because when I moved, we moved from King Street to Columbia, my parents did. And people were still asking me for weed and stuff. So I was like, this gonna be a problem. Because you're not the same you that you was when you left. Right. So now I need my outer appearance to match the interchange that's going on. Yeah. So that's when I started wearing polo shirts and I started wearing belts actually. Put that belt on. Right. So, and with that, and I'm not even gonna lie, the first day I got a shirt from Goodwill, a polo shirt, and a guy gave me his business card. He was like, man, you look like you serious. Wow. So that was the driving force to make me want to change even more. So I just started doing that. And it wasn't even big things that I was doing while people started calling me a child whisperer. And it wasn't even big things that I was doing, as far as, because I think great leaders are even better followers. So absolutely. Just little small things I was doing, just, letting them know I was there. Because again, I didn't want to be rejected growing up. So that also came about as far as me not wanting to neglect other people. Yeah. Because I've been neglected. Right. Because my dad was so busy in church. That's how I felt. So the streets kind of nurtured you. Yeah, nurtured me because my dad did. Yeah. So I was like, man, I don't want to go to the church they got my dad. So you know what I mean? It was kind of like a fighting thing. Yeah. Till I realized, after studying people, people can only do what they, been taught. Right. So even as far as love, they can only give the love that they've been shown. So that's a gem. Yeah. You can only give the love that you've been shown. Right. Right. So and then you have to make sure, as far as once you start loving yourself, make sure the love that you've been shown isn't harmful. Yeah. Because I think a lot of times we just think self-love, and we're not paying attention to what's harmful to ourselves or dealing with our own internalized oppression. Yeah. And then you start perpetrating that.
Yeah.
So when you hear people say, "Oh, I'm gonna give my kids everything I didn't have," it's like what about them? That's selfish because you're just thinking about yourself and what you didn't have, and not considering your
and projecting
child.
that on to your child.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now it's still a cycle. So your mom, her parents didn't have a lot. They did the best they could.
Right.
So now you got that. You're giving the best. Then your child gonna give the best that they can, perspective-wise, experience-wise, nature versus nurture.
Right.
So I think until we stop and just look and say, okay, what is healthy here,
right?
And then try to separate the two, because I think we harm ourselves more than other people harm us.
Right.
So
we got so much to unpack. So let's take it back. So you said y'all moved from the country to the city. People from King Street, y'all don't understand why I'm laughing, because this man is from Cedar Hill in King Street, South Carolina. He called that the city, but I'm letting him be great. So you moved from the country to the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
That came with a level of exposure, a level of, just something different that you wasn't used to seeing, right?
Right.
So how would you say getting exposed to whatever it was, whether that was like, fighting, drugs, just people acting differently than what you were used to, how did that kind of change your mindset to like you going down this quote unquote good path or this quote unquote, I don't want to say bad, but just like a different path?
I would say it kind of changed my mindset from thinking as a collective group. Like in the country, everybody's more thinking as a group, as a family. Your name is everything. So, neighbors, everybody knew each other, everybody talked. If we was locked out, we could go to somebody else's house.
Right.
And then, so coming up here, it was more about being an individual. So, but at the same time, still representing a group, if that makes sense. So in the country, it was just a group, period.
Right.
Your family, everybody know everybody.
Right.
So you're not about to fight nobody. You're not about to do this. And then when I came up here, it was more so, an individual thing. But what do you represent?
Yeah.
More so. So that kind of like what deterred me. Then seeing, again, like I said, my uncle, he passed, but just seeing how even they operated. It was more so about them as an individual. I'm allowed to the police. I'm, do whatever.
Yeah.
As long as I don't get in trouble.
Right.
Like, he even told me one time, like, don't get a license, because if you get stopped by the police, you can say a different name.
Wow.
So stuff like in the country, they would never tell me that. For one, everybody drive regardless, because the police don't come there. But that kind of like trained me in like negativity. Just seeing everything that people. Because it don't just come.
Right.
I don't think, once you start seeing the consequences of the truth and being right, then that's when, the being taught how to be devilish comes, I would say. Just me personally. So, and just, that started me down that path. And then it just kind of progressed. The more I got into like, junior high, high school. So then now I'm cutting class, lying, like blatantly, like, and I'm practicing it. Yeah. So to the point, of course, what's done in dark will come to the light. So it starts
all the time.
It starts coming out now. So I get caught smoking weed, and I know my mom saw me. I was like, that wasn't me. Like, she was like, that was you. So and even to the point of fighting again, like it was like 40 people fighting in the yard. So
in your yard?
So she saw that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So now the very thing that I hated my dad for, now I'm doing. So he said to me, because to me I felt like he was sacrificing us. So now I'm sacrificing them. So it didn't matter.
Yeah.
So this is my family. The streets is my family. So that exposure kind of geared me towards that way, as far as like teaching me what to do. I think if I stayed in the country a little bit longer, it wouldn't have happened as fast. I would say that. Yeah. It would have been more sheltered.
Right.
So.
Do you ever think about like this one event or like one thing that clicked in your mind when you said, I gotta do something different? Like, this has been cool for as long as it has been cool, but I gotta make a change.
Yeah. So I came back from basic training, went to Columbia, didn't like it. Like nobody was outside. So I'm like, I'm coming back to King Street. Was at a party and ended up fighting. And it was like, this is why I left. Like, I'm back doing the same thing. And later on that night, we were in a neighborhood per se, and my uncle came out with my clothes on. He was like smoking. He like stole my clothes. I was like, man, this is the last straw. Like, it's gotta be something better out there. Like I tried to change. I done went to the military and gave them 4 years of my life. Signed up to give them 4 years of my life. I done spent $10,000. Nothing to show for it.
Wow.
So it's like, okay, I gotta really do something. You know, not more per se on the outside, but something on the inside.
Yeah.
So that's when I went back to Columbia and started, working on, the inside, getting a mentor. And I think that was the first thing I did. I got a mentor. And I think that kind of helped because I think you can be so close to something till you can't see what the problem is.
Yeah. To
where you have to step back or allow somebody to teach you how to step back.
Yeah.
To where you can properly deal with it.
Yeah. Whew, that's deep. And one thing that I like that you said is that like you focus on the inside instead of the outside, because I feel like right now it's very easy for us to kind of look at our situation and point the blame like at other people and not take accountability for nothing.
Right.
So when you actually sit still and like look at why am I this way? What causes me to react this way? Why does this tick me off? Why does this make me happy? Like, how did that process look for you, like, looking inside?
So, it looked as far as first acknowledging that, okay, you can be a contributing factor to this ongoing cycle.
Yeah.
Not your dad, not your mom, not church, none of that, but, okay, you. Because you can't control them, you can only control you and your actions. Right. So that's why I started at first. And from there, I went to see, like, looking back, growing up, like, okay, what was I looking for? What didn't I get? And that allowed me to properly, like, allocate what I needed to change and actually have strategizing how that change should start.
Yeah.
So first I knew it was my mindset because for me, I call it being fit now, free and thinking. So my mind was so clogged with negativity and again, my own internalized oppression that it didn't allow me to think freely or think above my situation or my past.
Right.
So I had to do that first. So once I changed my mindset, it started. It's like when you misplace something, throwing keys in a trash can. That's how I think of it. So to find those keys, you got to take everything out of that trash can. So I think that's what it is. I had to declutter my, or clear out my mindset first to find those keys that I've been given to, actually help me out.
And this was years of like just stuff. Because y'all moved in like when you were.
We moved in 08. So my parents would moved in 07. I was still in the military. And then 08, that's when they officially took that trip to Columbia.
And then you moved to the city of King Street in middle school. So that was probably like, what, 8 years, 6 years?
Yeah, before that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I say the city because to me, that's what it literally was. Like the country, it was the country. Like you had the back roads, not saying King Street don't have back roads in the city area per se, but in the country, you ain't gonna see no cow. In the front parts of Cedar Hill, in the back part you will, but
the backyard.
Yeah, horses, stuff like that. So that's why I said that. But yeah, my mindset first. That was the first thing.
Gotcha.
So
after all of like, you getting a mentor, you changing your mindset. Are you still in the military or are you just settled here in Columbia? You still in the military?
Yeah, so I'm still in the military. working, going to drill, and I'm in the church now.
Okay.
So I'm going to church faithfully now.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. I'll say a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm present, but the process hasn't started yet. I'll say that.
What do you mean by that?
So I've rededicated my life to Christ. I'm present, but as far as walking with Christ, I haven't started that yet. Mm-hmm. So I'm just there.
Right.
So just for attendance, hey, what's up? I see the girls over there. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
So that I would say that. And then the process starts when I think about how bold and how of a leader I was in the streets. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I need to do the same thing in the church.
Right.
So I started wearing like crosses, like these big like wooden crosses. Mm-hmm. But I still had like a gold grill. I was still wearing my grills, still like going to parties. I was going to the club at night, mm-hmm. stuff like that. Till I was talking to this guy about church, and then I heard God was like, chill with the clubs, like, mm-hmm. damn a good look. So I was like, all right, cool. I won't go to the club. So my brother friends came over and was like, hey, let's go to a lounge. I'm going to my party. So I was like, okay, this ain't a club, it's a lounge. Like, it's different.
Not really.
Definitely not. And it was just crazy that when I got there, the guy was there. He was like, man, what you doing on my side of town? Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, I'm just here for a party, man. Like, it ain't nothing serious. But I just couldn't get over him saying, like, what you doing on my side of town type thing. So I went to church the next day, and my bishop preached man overboard. And he was talking about Jonah when he was supposed to go help these people. Mm-hmm. But he ran and went to the boat, and he was on a boat, and like a wave started coming, and the people was like, yo, who ain't supposed to be on here? Mm. And Jonah was like, bro, it's me. And he was saying, like, sometimes God will use people that you don't know to, like, kind of steer you back on that path. Right. And all I could see was the guy in the lounge, like, yo, what you doing here? Yeah. So that's when I cut all that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's what, like, started my process. So I started, like, getting serious reading the Bible. And not just reading, but trying to understand to where I can regurgitate that to the simplest form to a child. Yeah. So that's when acronyms started coming even more. Mm-hmm. And when I say God talking, I don't want to like creep people out. So when God talking, it's not like stop if I was going to club it. Like it wasn't like that. It was just like, bro, I don't think he would talk more so in a suggestion than type thing. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think club's a good idea. Mm-hmm. But in your mind, you have to understand that it's a commandment and not a consideration. I think a lot of times that's how I got messed up. Mm-hmm. At first he'll say something and it's like, oh, he considering that. Like I'll consider it. Like, nah, I ain't that serious. Right. And then I realized like, oh, he's really telling me like, yo, don't do this, don't do that. I don't think this is a good idea. For various reasons. Mm-hmm. So,
was it easy for you to trust that? Like trust that voice? I feel like sometimes when you are not used to obeying, right, it can always be like,
It took a while. It took a while, especially from a financial standpoint. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you an example. Like it'd be like I'll be done pay tithes, pay bills, and I have like $200 left, mm-hmm, and I'm like, man, I need to get something to eat. And he would just be like, gotta be like, walk to the church. And I walked to, my sister was working in the salon at the church. I walked to the church, and as soon as I get it, they're like, damn, you came at the right time. Like, you go to KFC and give me something to eat, like, I'll buy you some food. I'm like, man, appreciate it. Right. Then sometimes he would be like, walk to the church, and I'm like, man, I don't feel like walking, mm-hmm, and I'll go and get food. And somebody will come like, hey, you at the church? Like, I wanted to go to lunch. And I'm like, yeah, I just wasted $20. Right. So, just stuff like that, like, really trusting the stuff that he ordered. Right. Not really paying attention to, stuff that don't matter. Mm-hmm. And it's really just, it takes time. Like, it's a walk for a reason. Yeah. It's a walk. Right. That's what it really is. I think people we make it more than what it is. Same thing with finances, I think. We make it money more than we don't understand money's function,
right?
You know, what it's for. So we create these emotions attached to this misfunction or misappropriation of the funds.
Right.
So I think it's the same thing with God. We don't understand God's function, why he's here, why he got the Bible here.
Yeah.
So we create all these emotions, and a lot of them is geared towards the white man and slavery, and that detaches us from the Bible.
Right.
You know, so not understanding that even they didn't even understand what they were talking about, or that we couldn't read. So it didn't matter what book, you know, they used.
Yeah, it's so many moving parts.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a multivariate equation as to why.
Right.
But the fact that, can you imagine a world without money? Not really.
No.
So can you imagine a world without God?
Absolutely not.
And you know what I mean? Like the world's too fine-tuned to like say all these other things that there's no creator. So it's the same with money. Like money's too important for you to be frivolous, you know, to not be frivolous with it or to not consider it as a resource.
Right.
You know, it's a commodity.
Yeah.
Like you gotta pay attention, you know, when you go into the club every night, every weekend, you work all week and then spend all your money on 2 days.
Yeah, make it make sense.
It don't work like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you saying a white man holding you down. I don't see it. Because for somebody to hold
I don't see it.
Because for somebody to hold you down, they gotta be in the same place as you. I ain't seen a white man here. Not in the hood. You know what I mean? So you gotta reassess the situation now.
Right.
It's like, okay, hold on. We killing each other. We covering up the drug dealers. Majority of them are family members. You know, they selling to our other family members that's crackheads. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think it speaks back to the point though what me and you were talking about earlier is taking accountability.
Right.
Like we are always like quick to point the blame.
Yes.
But when you look in that mirror, can you be real enough with yourself and say, I am the problem.
Right.
And I need to do something about it.
Yeah. And a lot of times because we don't trust that there's a solution, I think it prohibits us from saying that I'm the problem.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times we don't want to be neglected. So we think if we say we're the problem, we think people gonna, you know, throw us away. And I don't really think that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna probably incite other people to say, damn, I got that same problem, bro.
Yeah.
You know, to me, to where it's more of a collective help now and a more collective healing versus it is harm. But I think now we just harming. And a lot of things we do is reactive instead of proactive. So you sell drugs, and I say, yo, Bobo selling drugs. You say, man, why you snitch on me? Why you didn't get a job? What? Like you tearing the community. You know what I mean? So again, you want me to think as an individual and protect you while I'm sacrificing the whole community.
Right.
Like, again, make it make sense. Like that doesn't make sense. So that's what I think.
Yeah. So now bring us up to speed. So I'm not gonna say when did you become a businessman, but when did you decide to start your own ventures, whether that be your detailing business, photography, videography? When did that vision come about?
So it came about, I was a dispatcher for this like family company, and we were in a meeting, and they were like, hey y'all, you know, congratulations, like we made $200,000 this month. It was like, what's that song you say, we speak French now? I was like, who is we? Like,
right.
My bank account said $179. So
they made $200,000.
Yes. And I think again because I've been studying people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now I've been studying like money, finances, all this. So I'm looking like, okay, they're making $200,000 a month. 2 times 12 is 24.
Some people don't make $200,000 in a year.
Or a decade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly.
So it's like, okay, hold on. So in my mind, I'm like, if I'm helping them make $200,000, I can at least go out here on my own and make $50,000 for myself.
Hello.
At least.
Right.
And I had a good friend, Modest, shout out to Modest, trust a Modest touch. He driving truck, so I was working at night. He kept calling me like, bro, you ain't leaving people job yet. So
them people job.
Yeah, them people job, cause you know it ain't mine.
Right.
And again, I think because we don't want to be accountable, they play on our emotions at jobs. So, and I say they because we had computers. So they would say, your desk. No, good what ain't your desk. Your
Right.
computer. You know, hey, you want a new mouse for your computer? You know, and we eat that stuff up because we never had nothing.
Right.
So a lot of times, even in relationships, we don't understand that we mess up or confuse different with new. So we think because something is new that is different than what we had, and that's not necessarily the case. That it really ain't.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what happened. So he just keep calling me like, man, you leaving people job, like, and he called me one night and it stuck with me. He was like, bro, like you a Christian, man, like you, and I'm not. Like you can't tell me I got more faith to step out and get my own business than you do.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
Quiet on the phone.
Yeah. I was like, bro, let me call you back, man. You know. So that's when I really started like talking to God, like, man, like I really need to do this. And it wasn't really he didn't really say anything. Cause I don't really think it was nothing need to be said at that point. So
prior to, were you afraid to step out on faith and start your own business?
Yeah, because I was afraid of being neglected. And that was even from a child. So
and I feel like a lot of people are like that though. They know they want to start a business, they know they want to do something, but in their head they're like, who's going to support me? Or what if somebody doesn't support me? Or what if I fail?
Yes. But again, remember what I said, that's a reactive thought instead of being proactive, because even still, you're still neglecting yourself. You are neglecting yourself while thinking about, is people going to neglect you?
Right.
So you have to be proactive and just say, okay, I'm going to choose me. You know, for the first time in my life, I'm going to choose and believe in myself.
Right.
Because it's a lot of people that ain't going to believe in you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I did. I chose myself. Started detailing in the winter time.
Ooh.
Yeah, 2019 I started detailing. And of course it was, you know, I wouldn't say that it was rough, but it was new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But not really new, it was different. It was something different because I've been working.
Right.
You know, so, and with that came a freedom, you know, to set my own schedule, to say, you know, okay, I'm not gonna go to work today, or I'm not gonna do this. But it was a lot more of, because it's a lot more work than being on a job. Being on a job, people are facilitating a system for you.
Yeah.
When you have your own business, you're facilitating that system and you're working that system
Talk
simultaneously.
Right.
So you're wearing, you know, when you go to work, there's somebody doing administration. There's somebody doing inventory. When you have your own business, you're inventory.
You wearing all the hats.
You're admin. You know what I mean? So
and you gotta learn while
you're doing it.
Yeah.
And be professional and never mess up.
Yeah.
You know, like business ain't supposed to mess up.
Right.
So I think that's what happened, and it started going good, and I just focused more so on getting better, you know, at being Danny, working on my handshake, eye contact, you know, articulating my words properly, not saying like I just messed up, you know, and customer service per se.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of other details, but what separates myself from them, that's what I try to focus on the most. So me being a people person, you know, me being funny, having icebreakers. So I took public speaking. Yeah. You know, so just working on my craft, investing in myself, to where I know that's going to be the greatest return.
Yeah. So did you have experience detailing? How did you choose, like, oh, I'm going to start me a detailing business? Or was it like in your research of you like saying, I want to start a business, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to do?
So I used to wash cars. And notice I said wash cars and not detail. I used to wash cars growing up. Right. And I liked it. Just that whole transitional process and, you know, going from dirty to clean. And I was like, well, I can do that. And coupled with research saying like, okay, this is the least expensive, you know, route to take. Like you can start detailing with $1,000. So
I hope y'all listening.
Yeah. So when I did that, I was like, $1,000, I can do that. And it really didn't even take that. Because once just the way God have principles set up in the world, like once you set your mind to do something, it's like doors started opening up.
Say so.
And that's what I think happened. Just a few months ago, I needed a trailer, but the price of everything was going up. So a trailer is now like $3,000, and really it was like $25,000. So just putting that in my mind first, like, you know, why I need a trailer, what it's going to be for how I'm going to contribute. It's going to contribute to the business, and actually having a business plan for it, and not just saying I want this. When that happened, talking to a guy from the church, he was just like, man, I got a trailer in my backyard. Like, I got 2 of them, matter of fact. You can get whichever one you want.
Right.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? He was like, bro, you can get it. Like, it don't even matter. So now, just that beats, like, you know what I mean? Like, all other ways to do things. Like,
Danny, I'm so happy you said that because, and I'm even guilty of this, we want stuff just to have stuff, but we don't know why we really want the stuff. Yes. And like you said, like, once you put in your mind, okay, I need this trailer, this is why I need this trailer, and by me having this trailer, I'm going to be able to do X, Y, Z. Yes. You want this stuff. I mean, you can selfishly just want it because you want it, but let's just say somebody like, okay, I want 6 figures, I want $100,000. What are you going to do with that $100K besides hoard it? Right. Because if that is your only goal, to have that $100K sitting in your bank account, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be very hard for you to get it.
And that's why you don't have it.
And that's why you don't have it.
Because one, you don't have a motive, and it doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
It doesn't have. If you look in the Bible, God never gave a blessing without an assignment or requirements.
Yeah.
So when you talk about wanting a blessing, like, what is that requirement? What are you going to give up in return for that? And what is it going to do for you?
Yeah.
In life per se. So, people, I think, because again, we never had so much stuff, we just wanted just to say we had it.
We got it, yeah.
You know what I mean? And the music industry doesn't help with that at all. You spending $100,000 on a chain because you made $1 million.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's not per se what you have, it's just the way in which you flaunting what you have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I always tell people, like, money is strictly a tool. That's it. It's 4 ways to use money: save, spend, invest, and give. You want to have a balance between all 4. But where we get hooked up at is spending and barely saving.
Yeah.
Emphasis on the barely.
Yeah.
We give periodically when we feel like it. Investing, people have to think 3 and 4 times before they invest in themselves for real.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we give this information and allow people to really, use money as it should fully be used?
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is too accountability, like, because you didn't know how to walk until you started walking. Like, you didn't know how to drive until you pick a book and started reading about driving.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is you taking that step and actually getting the knowledge first, because I think that closes the gap, because we think a lot of that stuff is risky.
Yeah.
So we think investing is risky, but not really. And I'll give an example. So me going out and driving 140 miles an hour on the street, that's very risky.
Yeah.
One, I'm gonna get a ticket. Dale Earnhardt Jr. driving 140 miles an hour, that's not risky, because for one, he has the knowledge, and that's something that he do all the time. So I think if we take those steps and get the knowledge, it mitigates that risk for us.
Yeah.
And just start.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us don't save because we can't save $100 a month. But that $2, you saving $2 here or $1 there, like
talk about it.
It starts adding up.
Yeah.
So, and I know we all know how to do math.
Yeah.
But it's like it doesn't look like how we want it to look. That's where a plan comes in at.
Yeah.
Then you know what I mean? It grows to that.
I like what you said. Just start. Like, do something. And that's exactly why the government take their money off top. Yep. You're not about to get your check and then pay your taxes later. No, they taking their money and then you gonna get whatever after they done took theirs. Yep. And I always tell people, after the government get their cut, you need to allocate the rest of your money. Don't let it just sit there chilling in your bank account, because you're gonna be spending. Yeah. You pay your tithes, you pay yourself, and then you delegate the rest.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is. The more things between you and your money, the more things between you and your money. The more things between you and God, the more things between you and God. Like, it increases. Like, it doesn't get better. So once you take all those things, and I think COVID should have shown us this. All them bill collectors, they ain't say, hey, you want your payment back from last month?
Please.
You know what I mean? So we're paying them instead of paying ourselves first.
Right.
When they don't really care. Without you, there'll be no them.
Right.
So you have to see yourself as the asset. If not, you're going to stay being a liability.
Say that again. Say that again for the people in the back. You don't see yourself as an asset. Without you, there would be no them.
You'll always be a liability.
We feed in all of these companies out here.
All of them. And they know that.
Yeah.
They know, because value is subjective. So they know we'll never believe the value that we have is greater than the value that they're giving us. They know that, so they bank on that.
Yeah.
And that's why they can call us anytime, and we get mad, we get stressed out because they calling us.
Right.
This is my phone. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm not about to get stressed out.
Yeah.
If I know I don't have the money to pay you, I will communicate with you. I think that's one thing we don't do neither. We don't communicate.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that messes up things. Hey, I'm gonna pay you next week, and if I ain't got it next week, I'll call you and let you know.
Yeah.
Like, they gonna want something versus nothing.
Yeah.
Or they gonna say, okay, Mr. McCurry.
Because they can't get what you don't have.
Right. So, and they gonna stay around. You know what I mean? So that's what I think.
So now let's talk about, because you started your detailing business in 2019, that winter. Were there any challenges or anything that you went through in the beginning stages of the business, or just still having it to this day?
Yeah, administration. I think creating that system, there's a reason why banks get so many tax breaks as far as when it comes to taxes, is because you're telling the government, hey, I know what to do with my money. I know how to properly allocate things. So in business, having administration skills is key because it causes you not to spend money over and over again. So me, when I first started, I was in love with new stuff. You know, let me try this tire dressing. Let me try, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me try these rags.
It was like toys.
Yeah, it was like toys. It's like, okay, I ain't got no more room in the garage. And half of my customers satisfied.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And they really don't care.
They don't.
They just want that car clean.
They just want the car clean. So they don't care that my rag purple.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or that this soap is cucumber flavored. Like, what? Like, this stuff is useless. So what I did is I actually buckled down and started actually learning. YouTube, reading, the different types of soaps, I'm like, what is pH balance? Like, why do I need pH neutral soap? You know what I mean? So just stuff like that. So I had to actually go to class again per se and actually learn. And I actually, again, found another mentor in that area.
Come on.
And his name was Mr. Kenny. I appreciate it. And he literally took me down, and he didn't have to. We were in the same field. He didn't see me as a threat. Cause he's like, I'm not going to nobody's house. They gonna come to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, convenience. Like, I can charge more about going to their house. But he just, one thing he taught, and it was really life skills he taught me. Really, it really wasn't even about the detailing.
Yeah.
And he was like, quality products bring quality results. Just one thing. Second thing that really stuck with me, he was like, my generation, he said, we'll walk over a dull diamond to pick up a shiny rock. Like, I was like,
that's a fact.
We'll walk over a dull diamond, because a dull diamond is still a diamond.
Yeah.
And because that rock shiny, we'll pick that rock up. So just stuff like that. And I was like, man, so not necessarily chasing after the glitz and the glamour, but really sticking to, the foundation of principles.
Right.
And I learned that a lot. So now that helped me a lot to where I'm 3 years in. You know what I mean? I got customers ongoing.
Right.
My prices have went up, and I have a reputation now.
Yeah.
For for detailing cars. So
built that brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yup.
3 years in. 3 years in detailing, building that brand, building your clients, your book of business. When did you make the pivot into photography and videography?
So I made the pivot. I was doing videography simultaneously at my church, but it was only on Sundays. It was stationary, but I still learned the foundation of it. And then what happened is I was one of my good friend, I call him my uncle now. His name is Todd. He was like, "Yo, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. Like, you good, you know what I mean, like working with the cameras, like, can you record us?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I can do that on my phone, like, ain't no problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wasn't even thinking about having an actual camera. So I went and changed my settings to 4K on my phone, and I went to work.
Wow.
So you talking about like episodes, then I started like looking at intros, what other, top podcasts was doing, like Earn Your Leisure.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at what they were doing. And I was like, okay, let me go on Fiverr and get an intro. What I didn't have, what I didn't know how to do, I didn't make an excuse to say, oh, we can't do that because I don't, know how to do it. I found somebody that knew how to do it because they don't care. As long as they, get their money, it was fine. So I found somebody to make an intro and outro, and I edited. Yeah. Found apps to edit on my phone with, and we did the first season on my phone. So I was like, well, now it's time to upgrade. I again put it in my prayer, started saying, oh, I need a camera so I can do this, because a lot of it was my storage was running out.
He's talking about me, y'all. He being petty, but it's all right.
And people kept calling. So I was like, okay, this is starting to be an inconvenience. So I was like, let me get a camera. So I started looking, and literally a lady just bought a brand new camera. She's about to be a photographer, and she changed her mind to be a nurse. So I bought her camera for like $200.
Wow.
And that just like took off, but I only bought the camera to do video. So I started getting these gigs doing video, just little small things, because what I started doing is I was making videos for my detailing. And it started taking off. So like people started seeing it, just making cool transitions, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, this is about to get crazy. Right. To where I was like getting booked a lot, like birthday parties, all this. And then I started getting booked here back home. And people, I remember Erica Alex, shout out to Erica, I took pictures of her and her friend. And she was like, how much are the pictures? These look good. I was like, I'm not a photographer, I'm a videographer. So I was like, I don't know, like I'll just give them to you for free. She was like, you sure? She was like, I'll just give you something. Like, what's your cash app? Did that. Then she booked me like, hey, how much if I want you to take pictures and videos at my birthday party? So now I'm nervous. Like, I ain't never took pictures.
But you already doing it though.
I'm already doing it. So I was like, man, whatever. So I told her, did it, knocked it out of the park. So when it came back here again, people started asking pictures again. I said, man, let me just try this photography thing. And this was like 5 months ago. So I just started, and what I did is I knew I needed to invest. So what I did is I got a girl, shout out to Amber Murphy. I got Amber Murphy. I was like, yo, when you come back in Columbia, like, let's take pictures. So I said, let's do 3-part, like a casual, you know what I mean? It was I did 3 C's. And she did it, and that joint took off. Really? Like, that joint took off, so.
Danny, you so dope. And the reason why I'm saying that is to not feed your ego, but because you really are. Like, when you started telling the story, you literally said, I started off with my phone. Like, y'all, there's literally no excuses. Right now, I record all of my Think Like a Mogul episodes, my YouTube videos on my phone. So I always say, use what you have to create what you want. Then from the phone, you said, I know I needed to invest. When you know, you know. And if you're serious about it, you will put that skin in the game. And then as you are making your moves, it's coming to you easily.
It's coming. And what's crazy is, like, again, like I said, once you speak it, those doors start opening up. So once I say, hey, I know I need a camera. So I just can't say I need a camera, specifics. So I learned specifics. Let's rewind back. I learned specifics 2010. I got my check from after school, and it's like 4:45. The bank closed at 5. So I'm driving. I was like, Lord, I need all the lights green. Literally all the lights is red. Wow. So I'm like, bro, this. And literally God said, you didn't say when. So serious. I was like, that makes, you know what I mean? That makes so much sense. Right. I just said I need the lights green. Right. I ain't said now. You know what I mean? So after that, specifics was something big for me. So even in business now, specifics. Okay, I need a camera by September 1st, 2022. I'm gonna save, $200. I'm gonna look and see how much cameras cost. I ain't gonna just willy-nilly throw a number out there.
Right.
Most cameras cost $500. I'm gonna save $800 because I'm gonna need to get 2 batteries. You know what I mean? So just stuff like that. Like, I'm gonna be specific about it and intentional about what I'm doing. I'm not just not about to fly off the whim.
Right.
And say I need something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I think that's
I hope y'all listening.
You know what I mean? Because I think when you settle for less, you get less than what you settle for. So because of that, I want the best. Again, quality products bring a quality result.
Yeah.
I don't want mid-tier. I don't want low level. When I was buying my house, talking to my financial mentor, he was like, "What the price range you thinking about getting a house?" I said, "Man, I'm thinking about $100,000." He said, "Man, you're not in Country no more.
Yeah.
You need to,
and
not a hit, and not a hit on Country saying that we small-minded, but because I come from a small place, majority of people have a small mind.
Yeah.
That come from small places.
Because they haven't been exposed.
Right. So he's saying, your exposure level's bigger than that. Think bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So after that, that's what I started. So specifics, I made sure of that, and of course God gonna do exceedingly abundantly more than you actually think. So I'm thinking I didn't say $500, $600, and here we come with a $200 camera.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now I got money for accessories.
Yeah.
Lenses. So just that.
Man, you feeding me right now. For real. I'll be there praying and journaling. God, did you hear me? But I'm being specific.
Yeah, he was trying to see when you want it. You want it next year, the year after that.
Yeah.
You ain't putting no time stamp on it. You know what I mean? Like, you look at food, they say Best Buy.
Yeah.
And they give you a date saying, hey, you need, so everything I think, you need a date on. All goals, all dreams, date, time, what it is. And, just saying affirmation. Like I read Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And that changed my whole mindset. Yeah. Because he literally put like the specifics, even affirmations. Like he just talked about just retraining your mind. Because it's a reason why, because there's so much negativity in your mind throughout the time frame, that you renewing your mind every day.
Yeah, it's a constant battle.
Yeah, but you think a lot of the self-care stuff we do every day. You wash every day, hopefully. Brushing your teeth, washing your face. That's an everyday routine. Putting on deodorant.
Yeah, hygiene.
You know what I mean? But we think, we can, not no hate on people that do sage, but you burn sage when you feel like it. Or you pray when you feel like it. It's like, it has to be that's when you get the best results. You gotta be consistent. That's when you get the best results. You know what I mean? So I think it's the same when you're talking about renewing your mind, being motivated, staying motivated. Yeah. You know what I mean? On task, being intentional. That's an everyday thing. Yeah. Even as far as self-love, and I don't even understand why people say self-love is being selfish, but because when I brush my teeth, it's so my mouth won't be stained. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wash, so it's not saying, I'm gonna just be selfish and brush my teeth this morning. That's not even a thought. It's like, this is self-care, like this self-care one-on-one. Right. You know what I mean? So I don't understand that mindset, but I think self-care is definitely one of those big things. And I think that would help us, with a lot more, to where we're not settling. We're doing things that helps other people. Yeah. And you appropriate things, especially finances. And what really made me think about finances, I was watching First 48 and a kid got killed for $20. And the police officer said, why would y'all fuss him? He was like, man, the guy owed me $20. He said, that's how much a life is worth these days. Sad. And that stuck with me. Because, again, we don't understand money's function. Right. So you tie emotions to it and make it more than what it really is. So,
because $20,
nothing. You know what I mean? Like people like to say, it's the principle, but you can't pick and choose when you want to live by those principles. Right. Like it needs to be across the board. So, and that's just one thing I learned in growing up in the country. If I had $1 and you didn't have none, we got 50 cents. Yeah. The city, they like, I got bills. Like, I'm sorry.
Go find you somebody else to borrow from.
You know what I mean? But just a collective group, and and that has helped me even in business now. Like,
Yeah.
I go the extra mile. So, you know, if you get a basic detail, like, I'm gonna either do a wax or I'm gonna do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where it's like, damn, like, okay, he didn't even have to do that.
And that separates you.
That separates me.
Absolutely.
You know, from just doing, because this ain't a job.
Yeah.
I ain't just here just to do, you know, one thing. Like, I want a lasting impression. You know what I mean? And I want when people think detailing, I want Danny to come up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or that, you know, so that's what anything I do. Right. I ain't trying to be the best. I'm trying to do my best at everything. So whatever I put my hands to. So
yeah. Danny, your story though, man, like I said, you're so dope. This has done my soul well, like my mind, like just everything, and just beyond the business, beyond the dollar, just this was good. So any like final words of wisdom that you have for people in our generation who want to better themselves, want to build something, any advice that you want to give them?
The first advice I would say is to subscribe to her YouTube.
You heard him. Period.
And secondly, I would say see where you want to be in life. You know, 5 years from now, 3 years from now, a year from now.
Yeah.
Physically, spiritually, mentally, and financially. And just write a plan for those, and then find a mentor for each level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that way, you know, because there's no such thing as pulling your own self up by your bootstraps. I don't really think that's a real thing. I think you know what I mean? Like, everybody needs somebody.
Everybody need, emphasis on the need.
Yeah. So again, because they're trying to tear the family structure down to where we can think like an individual. So we stop thinking like an individual. With those 4 things, like as far as mentors go, like that'll help you at least start. Like, you know, whether that, you know, that's that business, whether that's that job, because, you know, everybody's not business oriented, you know, whether it's that job,
right?
Be the best at, you know, that job.
Yeah.
Be the best at being you, really. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Be the best you that you can be every day. You know what I mean? Like, take your time. If you're tired, you're tired. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of times we do more, or we say more than our back can handle. So just be the best you. That's what I would say. And start. Whether it's that business, them goals, you know what I mean? Because we all aspiring to be something, go somewhere and do something. Hopefully for the betterment of our community.
Right.
So I say just start.
I love it. I hope y'all wrote all of that down. I hope y'all got all of these great gems. Before we end, Danny, please tell the people how they can connect with you, how they can book you for your services, all that good stuff.
So I'll tell y'all my Cash App now. So
he said, "Give me them coins."
But Facebook, my name is Danny Diesel. Instagram, it's Diesel Up Digital for my photography and videography, and my detailing is Diesel Express Mobile Detailing.
Period. Y'all go follow him, go check him out, and like I said, like he said, take action. Just start, bet on yourself, whatever that is that you want to do.
Yes.
And always think like a mogul. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye. Look at you.
Little slappers.
I wish y'all could see my mama coming in, sneaking in the shop.
And one of y'all questions needs to be, how the hell you start a whole business in the winter? Oh, washing coffee in the winter?
Wintertime. I started in the wintertime doing my thing.
No, who want to be outside doing that?
Hey, so, and this is the thing. So, what did you think my business mindset was?
This ain't gonna work?
Ain't no other detailers gonna be outside in the winter.
Ooh. I'll be thinking my hand gonna be cold for this.
Yeah.
Oh no, I bought gloves. PVC pipe gloves. I ain't gonna feel nothing.
Wow.
Yep. And this is the thing, like, and your mind gonna play tricks on you. Man, it's too cold outside. And I promise you, I remember the Lord asked me a question. He said, "Would you rather be warm and broke or cold and have money?"
Wow.
So I was like,
I'll take the cold,
"Let me
Lord.
get my jacket.
I'll take the cold, Lord.
Let me go get my jacket right now." So
Turtleneck up.
Right. So I started researching. Like, I know it's other places that's really cold and people detailing cars.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, I got these PVC gloves I use. I don't feel nothing. So I just started researching, and I bought the equipment for that, and it took off. Cause most detailers is gonna think that, man, I'm gonna save my money all year, so I don't have to detail in the wintertime. Gotcha. And that's my time to shine, right?
Give me that.
So now your customers ain't coming back.
Yeah.
January, February.
Yeah.
Cause I did their car all winter.
Yeah. Took care of them.
Yo.
And that speaks to how bad do you want it.
Right.
What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do to get what you want?
Yo.
Yeah, that's
That's
gold.
what it is.
Ma, you trying to come in here?
I need 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Come on. That's fine. Y'all gonna be quiet, right? We can still talk.
I want y'all to talk over. No, because I want y'all to have to be quiet.
Girl, come on. Mom, come on. Literally, we have a live audience. One day we're gonna have people.
Yeah. That's fine.
This is good practice. I need 10 minutes. No, I scheduled the salon. She got a client up in. She don't think this is my YouTube studio.